Right, well, here I am, sat with Eddie from the others. Thanks for joining me today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Pleasure. So I'm Ben, and I've been sat here on the sessions for the last 4 days, enjoying myself, being a very lucky man, really, to be hearing some of your fabulous melodies and the creative process, composing between you all as a band. It's been a real pleasure, a real privilege, really. How long have you sort of been involved with the band? How did you get involved with Dominic? And first of all,
in the others since 2011 now, but I've known Dominic since I think it's 2005, I believe. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, we met through MySpace back in the day. Mm-hmm. As I had been to his gigs before. I've seen the others before. I didn't know him, but he added me on MySpace. Mm-hmm. So I asked him, well, can we meet up? So he said, yeah, we met up, and surprisingly we got on very well. And so we became, I believe, quite good friends since, and we were hanging out a lot. And in 2011, they needed all of a sudden someone to come in on a guitar and bass because they had some issues with the guy who had been playing with them, and they had a gig booked. So they asked me to come in, and it did work, I believe, and so I've been in now for over 10 years.
Wow, 10 years! Blimey. Well, there you go. Well, you really take the sound. I mean, I'm a bit of a guitar nerd. I love guitar anyway, the lead, and you really you take the sound, you create some lovely melodies, and I hear quite a sort of almost a Celtic sound in some of it, or beautiful layered sounds, a little bit kind of. I'm curious what your influences were sort of growing up, who your favourite guitarists were really when you were growing up, and your favourite records and genres. What got you into sort of music in the first place?
There will be some quite strong Estonian and Russian influences.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Which, well, you wouldn't know. So it's Metroluminal, Venaskond, Pseudoterror, and from Russia, Kino, and Sektor Gaza. Mm-hmm. But, well, this is mostly what I listened to in the 90s and early 2000s. But at that time, from British bands, it was all the Britpop. I listened to also Oasis and all that, Radiohead, Pixies, well, from earlier things, all the punk stuff, Clash, Saints, and Pistols and all that. But that's what you listen to when you're like in 20s, and I mean, I believe I listened to most of the punk and indie stuff that was around at the time, and I don't really listen to them much anymore, as when you listen to Clash record 100 times, and even though it's nice when it comes on, you wouldn't necessarily anymore put it on yourself. So these were the influences around the Manic Street Preachers, and yeah, I always liked the simplicity of guitars in a way, like in Pixies, where you play a couple of notes, but it fits really well.
Yeah, so sometimes less is more. You've got to stop yourself.
Yeah, at the same time, it would be nice to be able to do something more complicated if necessary. But it was never been my goal to play like Slash or something. You know, because I never liked really that. Even though I respect Slash, but
it's not your style.
I wouldn't want to play like that. So
no,
it's
Well, it's just right for the others. Obviously, it wouldn't be right. I mean, it just wouldn't work. I mean, I mean, I would suppose you would look at someone like, you know, Stuart Adamson going back as someone who is a great guitarist, but didn't get to do it in that style, but was perhaps closer to the style that you do, or you know, that sort of Cure style as well.
Yeah.
Sound effects almost through the guitar, right? Almost like you would get with a synthesizer. Those sort of layered sort of sound effects that you use. I love listening to those. They're very mesmeric and hypnotic, I think, in the sound. Is that something that you're aware of, or you've developed?
I try to keep it simple. I use 2 pedals. I use a drive and I use a delay. So
yeah, that's fair enough. Simple.
There isn't much. So yeah,
well, it works beautifully.
I do with what I can with them, and
yeah. So, in terms of the music you're listening to now, and the direction of the band, do you try and steer the direction at all, or is it more something that you're kind of complementing, or in terms of the direction set by others, or do you sort of consciously say to Dom, well, look, I really like this type of music, can we sort of do it a bit more like this, or do you just sort of let it be and just fit with your style what they want?
I certainly don't say that, oh, let's do a song like that.
Yeah.
But I think it just happens quite naturally with us at the rehearsal studio. You pick up a guitar and you by accident start playing some chord progression which accidentally sounds good, and then Dominic finds his vocals to it, and then we all put something to it and we have a song. That's, I think, how most of the stuff is written. I mean, I don't think I've ever actually written anything at home. Okay, I've written one of them, but I brought it to rehearsals and we had a song out of it. It's mostly just, it happens here, for me anyway. And so I don't think there's any point in trying to create certain types of songs, because they end up being the others once we are in the room. So it just happens here, and I see no need to think, oh, let's do a conceptual album or songs like that. It's just whatever comes out, really. Yeah.
And I mean, you've been in the band 10 years. I mean, have you done a lot of touring with them in the past? I mean, what countries? Where did you play? Did you play a lot back over in Europe, or?
With the others, we've just when I've been in, we've just done UK tours.
Oh, just curious if you played in Estonia or that sort of.
No, not with the others.
No, yeah. And what about your other work as well outside of the others? Sort of, it was Dominic. I guess obviously knew you were a musician. Was he into your band that you were involved with back then? And what bands were you involved with when you first came to England?
Well, around those, I played in 3 bands at some point. I had my own kind of, where I was a leader of the band, just kind of indie punk rockish thing. Did that for about 8 years. Then I played with the songwriter Listen Lees, and we had a duo thing going on. I played there for about 3 years, and I played guitar for D&D for about 18 years. And yeah, so it's all been kind of that kind of guitar playing mostly, and rock with some delay and getting some melody, but not being overcomplicated. So yeah, I mean, I played in Estonia a lot of gigs, certainly, but also in London, and yeah, with the others around UK.
Because there's quite the other day you did the shoot on Brighton Beach, which was great fun as well, where you all had the masks on. It certainly, with the others, you've all got such distinct personalities. I think that's one of the strengths of the band. You're individual, and Dominic is very, very unique as a front man as well. What did you think when you first sort of started performing with him? Was it a very sort of natural thing from your friendship, or did you feel, had you been used to different styles of performer before him? Was it quite challenging, or was it just really easy? What was it sort of like when you first started with him?
I think it just clicked and was quite natural, because I mean, I was quite a big The Others fan anyway.
Yeah.
I think I've seen them 30 times.
Oh, cool.
So, I mean, I've known all the songs, so it wasn't especially difficult for me to understand or what this band is about in that sense.
Yeah.
And yeah. I mean.
What's your sort of favourite memory looking back in terms of gigs then? What was sort of is there any one that sort of stands out, a festival or a gig that you particularly remember fondly, where that you felt the crowd were really kind of...
It is difficult really to say. I mean, every gig with the others I think has been fun.
Yeah.
There have always been some good parties or good stories with them, but
yeah, I
guess for me, perhaps, I don't think the gig was even that much fun in a way, but it was good. But being able to play Glastonbury in itself, I think, it's a bit of an achievement.
Yeah. Totally. Shows a status, particularly if it's one of the main stages.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm quite proud of that. But, I mean, I would probably prefer some smaller gig, I don't know, in Half Moon Putney or something, you know, where
I love it.
You know, places where you had place completely packed, and afterwards you had good conversations, and because Glastonbury is a little more distant than, and they are going off your tent. Well, it's still a good big party, so it's a different thing.
Yeah, because the band, you know, you've been sort of involved with Alan McGee and involved with various people. I always thought the association with Libertines I could never get because I wasn't really into them, and I was more into your sound, more into the others, which was interesting. So in terms of Glastonbury, what year did you do that? That was 2000.
I'm trying to think.
I think it was 2011.
Must be 11.
Yeah, I think it was 2011.
No,
yeah.
Or is it 2012?
Not too long ago.
I think it's 2012.
Well, I hope
so joined 11, I believe. And that was in August. We played September. And I think it was next summer we played.
Wow.
But I remember I was like half a year ago, I was telling someone when I played Glastonbury, and I realised I messed up the year. Because I had a look and realised, okay, that year actually Glastonbury didn't happen. It was one odd year when there was no Glastonbury. I actually told that person I played that year, so it was a bit fun. But those years get a little bit mixed up by now. You know.
Yeah, it's
2012 or 11. But
yeah. Well, it's certainly interesting because with obviously with COVID, you know, and certainly before COVID, the main way to make money as a musician was from gigging, because with it being so difficult to make money from sales these days, from, you know, your record sales, for various reasons. With COVID sort of meaning you can't do so many gigs, it's really tough, isn't it, at the moment?
I guess, yeah. I mean, the band was, for me anyway, it was never about the money, so it's...
Well, more recognition to create and get out there, I suppose.
It's good playing music with people you get along with. And you know, obviously liking the music that you're playing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not for fame or money, really. There is no money in it. It costs money to play.
Yeah. Well, that's as I said earlier.
Which is fine. I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it used to be perhaps easier. It's all timing. You know, it's a field music, a band that, you know, only make 20k a year, and they won a Mercury Prize. You know, and that's when they're fully touring and everything else, getting sold out shows or whatever. So it's obviously very difficult because people still think of chauffeurs and riches and everything else. But it was always a bit of a myth because Small Faces got ripped off all their royalties, and bands have always, you know, had a struggle. But so I would say, then from my perspective as an audience, then for me it's just purely about getting your music out there to people. Fair, you know, it's not so much about the money, it's just about getting it out there so people can enjoy it.
True, but gigs now are difficult, really.
Yeah.
To organise even, because how do you book a gig knowing that it might not happen in 2 months' time? It's and also for people, I mean, I haven't been to any gigs for now a few years because I don't really want to go there. I don't want to be in a crowded room with a lot of people, even though I've loved, before that I used to love doing that, but now, the COVID has changed it.
Well, there'll be alternative ways. I mean, obviously with the technology, it's a great way of getting over.
Yeah, the online thing is never, I mean, lives are the things we hopefully the COVID situation will turn around, at least to an extent, where you feel you can go to the gigs. You know. Most people would feel that it's okay to go and crowd surf, and it's what it used to be like. So not so you stand like on your own with your mask on and watch the band. I mean, it's just, with rock or punk, it doesn't feel right. You know.
It's very strange, very dystopian. Be alright if it was a Kraftwerk's or a strange Gary Newman song or something where you were in a dystopian nightmare, you sort of join in, but...
But I mean, with punk rock, you want to be able to go to mosh pit and come out almost without your clothes, or and be sweaty and happy, but...
It's not going to happen,
at the moment anyway, so hopefully it will change to an extent.
Probably in a couple of years. It's going to take a while. But all right, well look, that's been we've had a lovely chat. It's been wonderful chatting to you, Eddie, and I'm was curious about how it all started, and I'm very as I say, admiring of your abilities. I've really enjoyed listening to you last few days. Had a great time, and
Cheers. Thank you.
I as I say, I just want your music to get out there, and I know it will. And I think you'll get a lot of credit for your kind of contribution. It's been great to hear.
I think this band is still everyone puts in
definitely.
It's really equal. I mean, there is no.
Everyone brings a piece.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why there's. I wouldn't really. Well, there's always a vocalist. Without. We wouldn't have a song.
No.
But any other parts, I think it's everyone puts their parts in, and as long as we do it well, then it's.
Works.
Yeah.
It works. All right, well thanks Eddie. It's been lovely chatting. You take care.
Thank you. Take care yourself.
See you soon. Forward to hearing the album. Bye.